So next we'd like to take a look at finding the surface area of a cylinder, which I have a picture of one here. A cylinder with radius r and height h. And when we take our cylinder and we create its net, let's look at the net of the figure from the learnalberta.ca website. I'm going to flatten it, unwrap it, and when I do that, I'll notice that my net becomes a rectangle and two circles. Now the two circles are obviously the top and the bottom of the cylinder, but let's just look at the rectangle. How did we get this rectangle? You'll notice at the side of the cylinder, the rounded side part of the cylinder, which we call the lateral surface, when we unfold it, it becomes a rectangle. And specifically, we can see that the height of the rectangle is the same as the height of the cylinder, and the length of the rectangle, can you see where the length of the rectangle comes from? We start here with our circle, and the wrapped around distance, the circumference of that circle, becomes the length of the rectangle. So we're going to use those ideas to calculate the area of our rectangle and add that to the two circle areas, and that is going to give us the area of our cylinder. So let's just draw out precisely our own net. When we unwrap the lateral surface, that red distance I've just drawn becomes the length of our rectangle, our circumference, and the length or the width of the rectangle is our height. So there's our rectangle, and then we had our two circles, which are identical, so it'll be one area of the circle times two. Just looking a little bit more at our rectangle again, this is going to be length times width, which is going to be circumference, which we know the formula for circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. This distance is the same as this distance. So it'll be circumference times height to get the area of the rectangle. So our surface area will be the area of our rectangle plus the area of two circles. And the area of our rectangle is length times width, which is circumference times height. And since circumference is 2 pi r, it's 2 pi r times height. This is the area of our rectangle. And a circle has an area, we know, of pi r squared. And since there are two of those, we multiply that by 2. And here is our important formula for the surface area formula of a cylinder. So I've shown you where the formula for the surface area of a cylinder comes from, and now that we know and understand that, whenever we're doing a calculation for the surface area of a cylinder, we can just bring out this formula and substitute in the correct numbers. So let's take a cylinder with a radius of 10 and a height of 5, and let's substitute those numbers into our formula. So our surface area is 2 times pi times 10 times 5 plus 2 times pi times 10 squared. Now, instead of decimalizing this expression right away, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simplify it a bit in terms of pi. So when I have 2 times pi times 10 times 5, since I can multiply these numbers in any order, I can do the 2 times 10 times 5 first to get 100 times pi. And over on this side, I know that my exponents come first, so that would be 2 times pi times 10 squared would be done first. That would be 100. And so I have 100 pi plus 2 times pi times 100, which is 200 pi. And 100 pi plus 200 pi, just like when you're adding 100x plus 200x, that would be 300x. This would be 300 times pi. And that would be my answer, centimeters squared in terms of pi. That would be what we call our exact answer, 300 times pi. So if I type in 300 times pi, 300 pi, don't even need the multiply sign. My decimal is 942.48, is approximately 942.48 centimeters squared. So when you're doing the surface area of a cylinder, you can apply this formula directly.